Hello everyone, Necromancer Kids here, bringing some necromancy for you. This time around, I thought I'd try a slightly different format than usual and attempt to teach you a bit about the old school format of GOATs by presenting to you a top 10 list. In this list, I'll not only be giving my personal opinions, but primarily determining placements based on how frequently and how recently cards have been featured in top placements of real Go format tournaments. I also have received the opinions of other users such as Spooky, Chopper, and Alephia so that I can try to be as objective as possible with my determinations. Hopefully, this will help you learn about which cards are considered the strongest, or maybe give you inspiration for how to use those cards lower on the list in new and creative ways. In this top 10 list, I'll be ranking the top 10 Go format low level beat sticks, which is any monster level 4 or lower with 2000 or higher attack printed on the card itself. So while Blade Knight can be a 2000 attack monster and Lily can be a 3400 attack monster, they don't qualify because it doesn't say on the card. All that said, let's get on to the first entry. Number 10, Dark Elf. She's a dark spellcaster with 2000 attack and 800 defense, the inverse of Mystical Elf, and her effect states that you must pay 1000 life points to attack with her. Modern e-girl parallels aside, this card is so middle of the road that it really couldn't have landed anywhere else but 10th place out of the 19 cards that qualify for this list. The fact that you're forced to pay the life to attack means that unless it's attacking directly, it's likely to lower your life points faster than the opponent's. It's especially painful if you attack a face down monster with her, only to find out that it's a Gravekeeper spy, meaning that she's now effectively walled by two monsters that you just wasted 1000 life points to attack. At least she can come down essentially as a 2k wall in attack mode, which is better in some ways than a defense position monster, like in the case of Ninja Grandmaster Sasuke. And you could argue that you go higher on the list, but as far as I know, Dark Elf has never been in any top 8 decks for major tournaments. And the reason for that is likely that everything good about her is done better by other monsters on the list. That leads us to number 9, which is Rare Metal Dragon. A dark dragon type monster with 2400 attack and with an effect that simply reads, this card cannot be normal summoned or set. You might be confused how this card could possibly get a spot over Dark Elf on this list, but believe it or not, Rare Metal Dragon has historical use in a Dark Reasoning Gate deck, piloted by none other than the Spice Lord Alephia. While you could get around this card's restriction with effects like Marauding Captain or Two-Man Cell Battle, the restriction is actually the entire point of playing it in your Reasoning Gate deck. You see, when you activate Reasoning or a Monster Gate, they skip over any monster revealed that can't be normal summoned or set, and send it to the graveyard, which includes Rare Metal Dragon. That means you can now have fodder for either BLS or Strike Ninja to remove from play, and you actually can bring back the dragon with Dimension Fusion, Return from the Different Dimension, or even a Desperation Premature Burial, putting out a rather beefy beater which can help you reach the high numbers that you need for an OTK. Because its use case is so narrow, however, and it hasn't even seen any top success in quite a while, I couldn't put it any higher on this list than 9th place. Number 8 is Terror King Archfiend, a dark fiend with 2000 attack, 1500 defense, and a super long effect that your opponent is guaranteed not to read. Basically, Terror King can't be normal summoned unless you have an Archfiend card on the field already, and you're required to pay 800 life points during each of your standby phases. Those are the downsides, which are pretty annoying for sure, but it comes with two major upsides too. First, anytime your opponent targets it, you get to roll die, and if you roll a 2 or 5, the effect is negated and the card that targeted is destroyed. So, a third of the time, it will obliterate the opponent's Snatch Steal, Sakuretsu Armor, Book of Moon, Thousand Eyes Restrict, and if they get cheeky, BLS that use its effect. It also has the much more reliable effect of negating the effects of any monster it destroys by battle, and keeping it negated, meaning no flip effects, no DD Warrior Lady, and no, not even Sinister Serpent, as the effect will remain negated as it remains in the graveyard. If it only had 50 more attack, giving it the ability to destroy GK Spy, it would be a true monster to reckon with. You can still set Terror King face down, cheat it out with Marauding Captain, Cyberjar, and even Reasoning Gate, since it actually can be set and thus qualifies it to be summoned by those cards. The downside still makes it narrow enough that it doesn't really see much play, and currently has only topped a single tournament, of course piloted again by Bolethia. Number 7 is Toon Goblin Attack Force, an Earth Warrior with 2300 attack and 0 defense. It can't attack the turn it's summoned, and even when it does attack, it goes to defense mode after the attack, unable to change positions till the end of your next turn. The rest of the text is irrelevant to the decks that run it because you're not really planning on playing Toon World in the first place. While on paper it looks extremely bad, Toon Goblin Attack Force has seen some success in skill drain burn decks, most notably piloted by Gulaz, and can be used as a filler card for any deck that wants to be thinning out with Toon Table of Contents. The fact that it is searchable by both Toon Table of Contents and Reinforcing the Army makes it extremely searchable, in fact, making it strictly better than Goblin Attack Force if you have Skill Drain already on the field. But that's a big if. Under any other circumstance, you're essentially playing it out as a wall and hoping that the opponent doesn't have a way to punish you with Snatch Steal or the like. By the way, if your opponent does steal it after your next turn, they actually can change its battle position themselves before you get to change it yourself. And as well, they also can attack with it the turn after you summon it because the turn has already passed. And that's why Toon Goblin Attack Force doesn't get any higher than 7th place on this list. 6th on this list is Susa Soldier, a unique Earth Thunder type monster with 2000 attack and 1600 defense, and the usual spirit effect that it can't be special summoned and returns to your hand during the end phase after being summoned or flipped face up. All damage it deals is also halved. On paper, this doesn't seem like much, but this card used to be extremely popular in side decks as an option both in and against control decks, being able to dodge Snatch Steal, Smashing Ground, and being sucked up by Thousand Eyes Restrict, while having the potential to take out weaker monsters and put pressure on the opponent's life points. It was even in a first place winning deck back during the early GFCs. However, because of cards like Air Knight Parshath and Skilled White Magician becoming less popular, and GK Spy's 2000 defense becoming a prominent wall, Sister Soldier hasn't seen very much play since then, leaving it here on the list for now. Number 5 is Giant Orc. A Dark Fiend with 2200 attack and 0 defense that goes to defense mode after it attacks. You can't change its position till the end of your next turn. Weaker than Tomb Goblin attack force in terms of attack and far less searchable, its attribute allows it to fit well into Chaos decks, and the fact that it can attack the turn it comes down without skill drain puts it a leg up on that card. 2200 doesn't quite hit the sweet spot of being able to defeat an attack mode Chaos Sorcerer, but it is still good enough to take out almost any monster the opponent plays, including GK Spy. And while the opponent can potentially attack the now defense mode Orc with nearly any summoned monster, they end up having to leave that monster in attack mode, and thus you can put out another aggressive monster of your own and clear that out and deal some damage. You can also play it in a theme-based aggro or burn deck to help fuel Dark Necrosphere, which has seen some minor success in local tournaments. One interesting combo I've used with Giant Orc in the past, if you can line it up properly, is to attack with Orc and destroy an opponent's monster, then use Creature Swap to give them the Orc while it's stuck in defense mode, and acquire yourself a monster which you can use to clean out the Orc on your subsequent turn while leaving the opponent with no monsters. Giant Orc is definitely a lot more niche than the remaining cards on the list, however, which all have seen a lot more success both in the side deck and main deck, and especially in the past and now. Starting with, of course, number 4, Jirai Gumo, an earth insect with 2200 attack. When it attacks, you call heads or tails and flip a coin. Call wrong, you have your life points. Jirai Gumo did see some use in skill during decks in the past, as a rare side deck card for against aggro decks, and has some potential in last turn decks, both as a way to lower your life points and to outright win with it. Most of its tops, however, have been very recent and pretty much exclusively with the warrior style aggro deck dubbed Gumo Sumo. While its downside has the potential to take you out even 4,000 life points, it isn't always going to make you lose life points, and unlike with Dark Elf, you can still attack with it no matter what your life point total is currently at. Unlike some other cards on the list, it also keeps the 2200 attack the entire time it's on the board, and won't give the opponent a chance to counterattack it like with Giant Orc, meaning it can continuously deal damage and tear through the opponent's monsters. Jirai Gumo does have potential to get higher on this list if its usage continues to increase, but for now, it sticks here at number 4. Just below number 3, Berserk Gorilla, an earth beast with 2000 attack and 1000 defense. It must attack each turn of Fable, and if it's in face-up defense position, it destroys itself. This flame-belching primate isn't as common to see as a main deck card nowadays, but for many years, it was a go-to beat stick for many players, with a reliable 2k attack that can and must swing every turn. It has a relatively weak downside, which can be partly avoided if you summon it in main phase 2. It can be turned into an upside along with Last Will, and is a great way to clear a lot of opposing beat sticks, which is primarily what it is cited for, alongside its ability to put quick pressure on the opponent's life points. Gets a spot over Jirai Gumo not only for its legacy use, but its wide variety of decks it's seen play in. from aggressive to control to cat decks to OTK strategies like double tap. Gorilla sees, Gorilla does. Still, it gets walled by the ever-present GK Spy and Chaos Sorcerer, which some of the other entries on this list can clear, such as number 2, Goblin Attack Force. The Earth Warrior with 2300 attack and 0 defense. Like its Toon counterpart and Giant Orc, goes to defense after attacking. However, unlike Giant Orc, it has 2300 attack, and unlike its Toon, it can attack directly the turn it comes down. Being searchable with Rhoda and swinging right away makes it a Swiss Army knife for destroying opponents' monsters, with the only commonly played cards it can't defeat being BLS and the Monarchs. And it has the highest single turn damage potential on the list, allowing you to close out games that little bit faster before the opponent can recover their resources and make their comeback. And while it does go to defense and can be destroyed by pretty much any monster, it forces the opponent to play that monster into attack mode if they want the value, allowing you to potentially get in for even more damage when you slap down another beater. A little tech with this card some people don't know about: if you flip Goblin Attack Force face down, such as with Book of Moon or Tsukiyomi, you can actually flip it into attack mode to attack with it again a turn early. But anyways, while Berserk Gorilla is much more common as a side deck card than this one, Goblin Attack Force is much more commonly seen as a main deck card, primarily seeing use in Earth aggro decks. So that's why it gets the higher placement over Berserk Gorilla. However, neither one of them has as much representation in both the side deck and main deck as our number 1 card, Zanbaira the Dark. A Dark Warrior sporting 2100 attack, this comic book antihero can't attack directly and loses 200 attack each time it destroys opponent's monster by battle. While it may be the only monster that gets weaker over time on this list, and is the only one that can't attack directly at all without skill drain, it has a lot of advantages which the other monsters don't. For one, it has the search ability of Goblin Attack Force, but a much more favorable attribute, making it a generally better choice in chaos strategies. It also has just enough attack to take out a defense position Spy, which, while it can only do that once, makes it far easier to deal with the remaining wall using other cards down the line, and doesn't really make itself vulnerable to attacks going into the opponent's turn. You can also get around this downside somewhat by using the same trick mentioned on Goblin Attack Force, flipping it face down and resetting the attack loss that it's accumulated. So, while it doesn't have the raw damage potential that the others do, it is a very effective way to take out opposing monsters and clear the way for your others to deal damage. And as a fail case, provides a 2100 wall that the opponent has to summon their biggest monsters to remove, or waste multiple monsters attacking into to make it small enough. That's why Zanbaira the Dark sees play in the main deck and side deck of the most cards on this list, at least from a modern perspective, with its most common home being Chaos Turbo decks and Warrior decks. But even some that utilize different strategies would choose to take Zanbaira the Dark over Giant Orc, including even skill drain decks. Whew. Well, that was a lot, but hopefully you guys enjoyed my very first top 10 video on the channel. Do you agree with the placements that I chose? Is there a card that you think should have been on here that I didn't mention? Do you think that I should make another video of the top 10 weakest? Let me know in the comments below, as well as if you want to see a different top 10 list. And while you're there, just figure I'll mention that I have channel memberships on my channel now if you want to join and get some cool emotes. Anyway, thank you very much and have a good one.